live. Bang
We're
on
good.
time.
Hello.
3 o'clock in Germany. 2 o'clock in London. Yeah, welcome. Hello,
Yes.
Shireen. Welcome everybody.
Hi. Hi.
Who wants to join us on this
So exciting
sacred journey of meeting 27 Bereginis, which are named for the goddesses in Russian. So welcome.
Yeah. Oh, this is exciting. It's so exciting because, you know, now we're getting to do something which I know in the previous time we were doing sort of different things, but now we've got something we can make a pouch with, and we can do something where we can have something almost like a tarot card or something like that you can actually draw on that wisdom every day. So that's something very exciting for me. I'm really looking forward to doing 27 days. Ooh, 27
Quite a
days.
commitment.
I know.
Well,
so
I'm
funny.
glad that
but
you
it's
joined
really good.
the challenge.
Has someone arrived?
To do this commitment. I mean, for me, it's like this is something I do for many years already, which brought me a big transformation of getting to know this different symbols and the goddesses, especially my 7-1, which was given by a Russian woman who has invented the 7 women wings and those 27 symbols. And the 7 are, of course, embroidered on my shamanic dress. And I use it as this opportunity, to wear this, my sacred towel and a dress and like my crown, which is like the head connecting me to my ancestors in Kazakhstan. So I'm ready to opening up this space and to really meet the goddesses. And today we're starting with the first one. She's the leader. All those 27 Bereginis are also in my book, in the back of the book, The Weirding Way. Or you can also get it as a free ebook, which is in the link in the event page. And they're all ordered like according to the world tree, which is set in Slavic tradition to have 3 worlds. Underneath world of the roots, the ancestors. That's why we embroider in the black. Yes, so this is the ancestors. It's called the Nav world. And then there's the physical world where we live as humans. That's why we embroider it with a red thread, which stands for blood, for life, life force energy. And then there's the Prav world, which is usually embroidered then in white, or it's just a foundation, which is white. Like in my Slavic Rushnik, the middle is white. It's always left white. To let the source, that the divine, do its own thing, which is always a perfect timing and order. Yeah, and so those 9 circles have got equivalent 3 Bereginis, starting with the first circle, and today with the very first one. The goddess, she comes from the Prav world, which is the divine. Yeah, and that's what we are going to do today.
And we're going to talk a little bit more about her, are we not? Yes. Because she's
That's
amazing.
the symbol. But before we do that, like we also already like to do, we like to open the sacred space, don't we? To invite in the goddess before we pick up the thread. Let's open the space. And for that, I like to start a new candle, especially for this journey together, 27 days. It reminds me of a rainbow. I like to switch on the lights for us. Oh, but the light is not working.
So it's a rainbow candle.
Yes, it's a rainbow candle.
Beautiful.
I will get a different lighter.
So just take a little bit of time to maybe, if you can, download the PDF, and that will give you a look at what's going on if you go onto the event page.
So this one is working. So let's open the sacred space.
Okay.
The prayer. May all beings have happiness and the cause of happiness. May all beings remain free from suffering and the causes of suffering. May all beings remain connected to sacred joy and happiness that is totally free from sorrow. May all beings come to rest in feeling of security and peace. May all beings be happy, content, and fulfilled. May it be so.
May it so. May it be so.
And we like to open the sacred space with some goodies. Like, would you like to share
yes, absolutely.
a tarot card with us?
Oh, all right. Let me share. We'll quickly do a pour of one and see if we can get. Let me bring in 10 in there. What do we need to create for today? All right, let's come up here. Oops. Oh, the Emperor. The Alchemy of the Emperor, which is, so it looks, it's got the mountain. I don't know whether you can see it properly.
I can see a mountain, yes.
So it's the Alchemy of the Emperor. So it's the number 4, which we all know. It's also sitting next to the Mithray, the Alchemy of the World, which is interesting that I pulled out 2 cards by accident. So it came stuck with the other one, which is the Alchemy of the World, which is quite interesting because that's number 21, but it's the Alchemy of the World, this one. Let's try and turn it that way so you can see it. Yeah, can you see it completely? There we are.
Yeah, I can see a sun.
I'll take it. Yeah, there's a sun. And I remember if once before you thought there was a whale there.
Yes,
can you
I
still
saw
see the whale
there.
Yeah.
I cannot see it now in full shiny sunlight. I cannot see it anymore.
Right. It's interesting, isn't it? Because, yeah, I mean, I remember the whale, but also I remember that the idea is that the sun is coming over the earth in this one. But the Emperor is the number 4, and the number 4 is all about grounding into the physicality, isn't it? It's the number 4 where all of a sudden all the worlds have mixed, and now we're manifesting into creation, which is a great one for us to be starting. But it's also with the alchemy of the world is within that manifestation, we get to understand and have the completion. So these 21 days are a way towards completion, which is what the message that I'm getting from this here. And it's interesting that the last time we didn't see the whale this time, and I only just had remembered. But the whale, the last time we were doing some other work, which was about a different kind of flow. So maybe that's why your attention wasn't taken to the whale this time. And the light of day with the sun has created a different, not an illusion, but a different way of an awareness. So that's quite interesting, just in that noticing. Yeah.
Well,
so
and what I like to say to that is like each day is new. Each day is new. It's the same like with the goddesses. That's why I like to encourage everybody to develop their own practice. So when I connect with my main 7 Bereginis every day, and especially the wise one, of course, every day is something new. Yeah, and we are new. Actually, with every breath, we are new. And that's why it's not surprising at all that now I see something totally different. Now I see, for example, the connection of the goddess, which we open the space for today, and the emperor who manifests this goddess divine powers, which come from Prav. But we bring it through the means of like real embroidering and take into our hands down into this world. So I like to take it as a form of a meditation. When we start doing it, it's like, how am I connected to the goddess? But how do I manifest her? Or how does she want to be manifested through us in this moment of time? So, yeah, I like this very much.
And it is interesting because that's a square that you showed, and the square is number 4. So there's a connection there, just in that pulling as well. So I'm just kind of thinking, you know, how that is how we put stuff into the container and we build.
That's how. And there are also the 4 signs who also look a bit like a sun, which is the second card you drew, the sun.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the sun
all
rays.
of a sudden we're getting a yes, exactly. So it's interesting that both of them got picked up. I mean, I was that at one. When I put down, I thought, oh my God, I pulled up 2 rather than 1. So there's something really important, and it's absolutely paralleling, which is exciting because it does mean that nothing happens by coincidence.
Nothing.
It happens that we need to be aware of it. Yeah.
And that's the sacredness. Like when we open this space, we connect to our divinity, which is always there. Like we would not be able to survive without being breathed and connected. A lot of times when we rush around, we feel separated, but it's never the case. And like by coming together and do a sacred practice like we are aiming to do now the next 27 days, just see it as a way of really making space to become more intimate with the divine, which is always there. Yeah, so would you like to know the card of the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck?
Yes, I'd love to know.
Well, speaking of that, there are no coincidences. The rainbow.
Right, whoa.
Rainbow candle.
Oh, wow.
Rainbow.
Yes.
I see a beautiful, like paradise bird.
Yes, coming out of something, isn't it?
And the moon.
Yes.
And he is like flying.
But those colors are almost exactly the same as yours, as your candle, with the red on the top, and then sort of coming right down to the white on the bottom. So it's really interesting. Yeah, you've got those almost identical.
Yeah.
Almost identical in colors. Look at that. Wow.
This is magic in action already.
This is magic.
And last but not least, I like to also draw us a rune, since I'm always very connected with the runes and love to do my rune readings. So which rune wants to come with us today? Ah, my favorite, that's my sun rune, my soul purpose rune, Equas. It looks like an M, but stands for the horse of Odin, Sleipnir. And through the horse, speaking of the world tree, Odin is said to travel between the 3 different worlds and also the 9 dimensions of the world tree with the help of his horse. It's called the Sleipnir. Yeah. So speaking of connecting with all different 9 circles with the 9 dimensions of the world tree and all the 3 worlds, the Nav, the Yav, and the Prav. There we go. Equas is going to help us to journey through dimensions and worlds.
Beautiful.
Wow.
Very exciting. So everything seems
already
to be
very
magically
potent.
working.
Sorry,
yes.
What did you say, Shane?
Yes. No, I just said everything's connected. Everything is working in an amazing way. But what really got me as well, and it may be, nothing's not connected, but the number 27 is also a 9, and it's connected to that 9 worlds. So that's also another way of thinking everything is intricately connected.
Yes, that's true. That's why it's also very important. I actually asked that of the teacher, the Russian teacher.
Mm-hmm.
I've got this 27 Beregini symbols from, and this, it does add up to the 9, and it's got a very sacred meaning, like the 9 dimensions of the Yggdrasil, of the world tree. And in Slavic tradition, there are the 9 energy centers as well. Those are like the 7 known chakras, but also the feet and above, like above the crown chakra. These are also 9 energy centers. And yeah, it's got a sacred number. And there are also, like in the web of weird, I like the name of my book, The Weirding Way. It's like the woven web of interconnected timelines. And the symbol of the web of weird contains all 9 lines, which the runes are made of. So it's the sacred number. Yeah, which contains everything.
Sorry. It's amazing. It's amazing. So that's come up. So I think it's always about remembering that there are all these connections. And as we start to do more and more, we start to notice those connections, and we can intend along those lines of those connections. But in the Kabbalah, there are 9, there's 10 Sephirah, but the one Sephirah is actually being born. There are 9 that are preparing for you to come into being. So that's interesting. The 10 is when you finally become into being, but it takes 9 of them to get you to the being state. So that in itself is also another connection about why 9 is so important.
Yes.
So it's everywhere in lots of different kind of religions and or beliefs yeah,
which is again a sign for me of the interconnectedness of all wisdom. Of all wisdom, ancient lineages. There are many paths, but one truth, isn't it? Like one universal truth. There is one source, but the source expressing in all the different diversity as we are. And so, And
I was also thinking, I was also thinking about there's a particular thing in the Kabbalah called the names of God, the 72 names of God. And basically there's 9 levels to perfection. So there's 8 different aspects along the line, but there's 9 to get to that total, almost the same rune as Solio. It's the same one, Mem, which is almost like it's the symbol of M. Like the mother M in Odin. So it's Mem. So
like this one.
Mem. Yes. Yes, similar to that. Yeah. So it's interesting how when you bring those 2 together, you get something which is completely different. So yeah, all these things are starting to make, even just bringing them out into the web, from the web, just coming in and placing them into being, which is so beautiful. Looking forward to our meditation now.
And the meditation is through embroidering. And since we connect with the goddess, just ask yourself, what kind of goddess is your goddess? Why is she embroidering? Like, how is she breathing to you at this moment? It's unique in every single one of us. And and she has also got like an affirmation, which I like myself. Put like in a womb, like in a little pouch. So it's from the first circle, Prav, divine world. The goddess, she stands for divine leadership. And the affirmation is, I recognize the lightful and divine path. You can use the symbol for more life force energy or for more confidence. So if I like to connect with this energy, I put it in my brow. You can put it in your purse. You can draw it. Like there are so many different ways how to connect with this kind of energy. So, and maybe you will come up with your own.
Yes. Yeah. And I think it's so useful. I think that you said a really good point there. Just as we start to sow, to really think about what kind of goddess is she and how does she represent in us? How can we access that a little more? You know, where would we access her in ourselves? You know, and what might we do to step into that as we go along?
As we go along. And it doesn't have to be rushed. That's why embroidery, I like it so much, which is for me is like one of the slowest art forms. And if we set then the intention, what kind of goddess is your goddess? Or what is she bringing for you at this time? Or how do you want to connect with her? And just listen while we embroider. And we are actually planning, or we are working on it, not only planning, to develop a journal where you can really dive deep with a goddess who is really calling out to you, and take your time and start to listen and develop your own practice.
Has anyone come into the Facebook yet?
I have not looked yet. So if somebody is joining us live, just give us a sign. Say hello.
I'm just going to...
Oh, there's Michelle. She's saying...
What's she saying?
Hi, Pina is watching. Hi, Michelle.
Hi there. So glad you've come and joined us.
Yeah, where are you calling in from? I know, Pina, we just spoke earlier. You're from it's Istanbul.
Oh.
And you, Michelle, where are you from? Pina is saying, I might not be able to stay for the whole life, but if I have to leave, I will catch the recording later on with my supplies ready. Yes, sure, but thank you for being here for the opening, Pina.
So I'm just wondering whether when we do the ones for the day, whether it might be good to actually have a picture that they can see on the Facebook, so that they can actually see the goddess that we're going to work with on the day.
Yes,
I was
very good idea. And I was actually thinking already beforehand, post like the picture and the description of which goddess we're going to embroider. And
I think that's a good idea.
Play around, maybe do my background. My background on the Zoom, if I can adjust it, if it's possible.
Oh, yes, do that.
To have a certain symbol. Oh, and Lisa. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for joining from Indiana, USA.
Hello, Lisa. That's fabulous. Welcome, welcome.
Yeah, so basically the symbol is, a square. A square?
It's a square, yeah.
With the 4 lines, which look like sun rays in all different directions. And for tomorrow, I will try, to post like in advance the symbol and a description of the symbol and do the background. And I have never been an embroiderer beforehand, so I just use the most simple stitch.
Yeah, just use back stitch.
How is it called? How do you call it in English?
I do backstitch. So you can gather it if you like. You go back and forward through it. That often works. And then you probably then have more control over the stitch. And it makes it easier. It makes it easier to be able to be more even if that's what you kind of want to find.
And it's not about perfection at all.
Exactly.
Because I've never embroidered, but I just heard the call to do it, which was from my ancestors. That's how I started with this Slavic Ruchnik towel, attended a workshop, because I felt like I want to find out about my ancestors and about this sacred embroidery. That's how I started, and my embroidery is far from perfect. And it's not about that. It's really this meditative practice to get in contact with our ancestors and the symbolism, or like the certain energies of this Bereginis, which we do now. So I embroidered just one side, the pouch.
It's so interesting how all of a sudden we had that discussion a little while ago, where I said I hadn't realized that I'd always woven. And we were talking about, you know, as I kind of moved away from childhood where I did a lot of weaving, I started to kind of stop weaving. But what I didn't realize was that when I was doing stitching in midwifery, or when I was stitching, you know, wounds in casualty, that I was still weaving. If you remember, it was quite an interesting thing about how you know, the metaphor of putting things together and creating and making sure they kind of fitted, and how you, how it was never it's very hard to be perfect if you're not a specialist surgeon, but how it is that you've got to really work as much as you can with an intention, and also know that that intention is manifesting in whatever it is that you're working with. So in actual fact, by just going with that intentional flow, I kind of started to notice how things became much easier just in just watching and looking and feeling how the thread went. And so yeah, when I'd forgotten that until we did our gold work together, and then all the perfectionists came out again. Oh, that was so funny.
Yeah, but this is always welcome, isn't it? When we are in a sacred cycle, it's like what all those limiting beliefs, what comes up, they want to be looked at, and they are welcome. And what kind of treasure did it turn out to be, like when you looked at this limiting belief?
It freed me. I mean, it freed me. I was able to now just move forward, really. I mean, that's the whole thing, isn't it? Because perfectionism actually keeps you stuck a lot of the time because of the way I was being perfect. I mean, there's nothing wrong with wanting to do your best, but there's also something about what's good enough and has it done what it's needed to do. So yes, I've benefited so greatly from doing that and learning that. And yeah, it was being able to just quietly work.
And so much more has happened, hasn't it, since we started to embroider together? Well, for me, the biggest one was we finished our Flower of Life of goldwork embroidery. Yes. That's how we started to weave together. And my shamanic dress is also like my life unfolding. So now I've like crowned myself in my sacral area with the Flower of Life. I don't know if you were able to see it. And
very difficult. I think you might need to stand up a little bit more, let go of your things and just move.
I probably have to go a bit more in the back. It's in my sacral area here.
Oh, yes, it looks perfect there. Yes.
Because I found
Beautiful.
out in the meantime in a human design reading that I'm a pure generator. So my main power comes from the sacral area. And since I always feel everything is interconnected, and we have just finished this project, that was for me a clear sign. Oh wow. So this wants to go in my sacral area on my dress. And when I wear it, I feel empowered.
You generate. Yes.
Because I feel conscious about what it stands for and how it empowers my sacred area. And you finished some projects which you have not worked on like for 30 years, haven't you?
What project? Oh,
which like project? A tapestry.
Oh yes, my tapestry. I finished my tapestry, which I hadn't been doing for 30 years. Yes, that was certainly a very good thing. Yeah, I had this tapestry, which I was doing a lot of very fine work on it. And, you know, life got in the way, but I didn't do the tapestry. I got caught up doing many other things. And I think that actually this year, just grounding that and finishing the tapestry has made a huge shift in kind of that whole energy. So that's been very, very helpful. Yeah, the tapestry was a very big plus to change. But since then, you've been doing so many things. You did a most magnificent painting recently.
Oh, yes. That was my healing painting in with the white deer who presented himself as Beregini to me. And I'm doing also 12-month shamanic education with the shaman with whom I've been to Siberia, to the sacred mountain Beluga. And around this area of Beluga, it is said to have lived a very old civilization of the white people, like Beregini translated as the white land, white sacred land. And so I was then doing my shamanic journeying, and this beautiful white deer appeared, who also took me to a live tree, which looked similar to the movie Avatar. And then he was saying to me like, yeah, follow me. And he brought me to the sacred waters near this mountain, Beluga. And I drank from it and I bathed in it. And then I felt the call to do a medicine painting with him. Yeah, it was very, very profound. Because in the medicine painting, the lumps in my right breast are in his horn. And through his horn, he just puts it up to the source and spirals it out right in the source. And it really felt so powerful to me, this healing that can be so easy. Yeah, like he has shown me, we connect to the source and we send anything what does not serve us and give it up, like we're doing now to the goddess or to the source. And if we can really name it and claim it by setting the intention, this is what is happening now.
Yeah.
That's how powerful we are. And healing is happening. I can feel it. I mean, I put the painting next to my bed, so I see him every time I wake up. I go to bed, and he's my spirit helper to remind me of that now. And yeah, my life is more and more like this. Like when I now do the goddess, whatever is going to come up with the goddess through the day, I write it down, or I really look out for the signs, what the goddess is giving me, what is coming up in my dreams. Really connect also with this shamanic card or the tarot cards, which you're going to send us more information about it, and really feel into it, to these miracles and signs and messages which are coming our way. And there's going to be like the next 27 days, just really opening yourself up to receive all this magic which is around us.
Yes, I think that's the key point, is that you start to move with it and you start to listen. And I love that, because you said, I'm becoming animated. I'm doing more, and I'm connecting more. And that's the passion that ignites the fire without the need for fuel. So we don't need to burn wood, because it happens and it's sustaining, and it becomes self-sustaining. And when you do that, then all of a sudden your life becomes so much easier, because now you're following the flow, aren't you? You're moving with the flow. Yeah. And so much easier, because you don't need to think about making a decision. In fact, the decision's made for you in a way.
Yes.
Because you just go, okay, what do you want? Let's just go. And in a way, you're letting the spirit or the energy take you, because you've connected to it. You know what it's, and you also trust it. You're trusting it.
Yeah, it has got a lot to do with trust and of receiving, because a lot of times we feel separated, or we feel like victims. We don't feel the connection to the source. And we are then really stuck in this divided self, and we doubt everything. But it magically happens. The sooner we learn to feel this connection, or to have practices how to connect with source. That's, for me, intentional creativity has been my life transformation. Before that, I was practicing so many theories, and I've done so many things, But on my body, I literally felt it when I did my life towel, when I did my shamanic dress, when I really learned practices like to intentional creativity, to connect with a certain spirit guides, or like this Beregini goddesses, and then let them in my life. Yeah, and they were just waiting for me, like my ancestors. I felt disconnected over 30 years. And I had to travel all back to my ancestral land, Siberia, Kazakhstan, Mongolia, to then in the shamanic journey to hear that my ancestors were there all along, but I didn't let them in.
Yeah.
Or I didn't know how to make a connection with them. And they were here there, like really applauding, being so happy. The same like those goddesses, yeah? They're always there, always there. Well, like the spirit animal, the idea. It's just for us to like really let them in and then start to let them do the magic. And it can be really easeful and playful. And creativity is very playful for me.
Yeah. Yeah, the more fun you have with it, the better. The more fun, because it likes that light energy. But it also reminds me, and that just kind of brought me there. I mean, I know that there is a famous poem, which I know Johnny Cash used to do, which was about how footsteps in the sand. And it's the same thing, as you said, the goddess, everybody is always there for you. We just don't see it. So the story of the footsteps is two pairs of footsteps. Well, two sets of footsteps. And basically they're pairs where the one footsteps are alone. And that's where God says, but I carried you there.
Oh, that's so beautiful.
When you didn't realize you were alone. Yeah. So, in a way, it's really understanding that the goddesses are there. They're carrying us.
Yes.
And if we allow ourselves to listen, then we will hear how they carry it, and we'll walk alongside them. Yeah. And they'll be alongside us, and we'll have a very much different aspect with them. They can inform our life in a very different way.
Yeah, like it was like last time we met, didn't we? Just a few days back. That was also such a touching meeting between us, where you also felt like your deepest longing is to walk besides God. Like who is always there, but you felt also disconnected. And it was like a matter of really opening yourself up to let him really walk beside you, and to feel him and invite him to walk beside you.
Yeah.
And so many times
is that allowing?
We are not allowing it, or we feel small or disconnected, where we literally cannot feel. this divine.
Yeah.
Just for others, if they forgot how the symbol looks, that's the square and the 4 lines.
Mm-hmm. Well, because mine's on red, I've got mine just done. So I'm going to put some white through it so we can see it. Or I can see it. That's
your own creation.
My own creation.
And I'm curious, what kind of goddess is your goddess? Is there anyone in particular?
Well, I think that, well, yes, when I look at my goddess and I look at it, it feels very harmonious, strangely enough. And it also feels as though there's a geometric aspect to it. And I'm just getting a sense that my light keeps going on and off, and I don't know why it's doing that. Oh, it's very annoying, but it's maybe one of those things. The energy might be, it started doing that today. So I'm just wondering whether it's the energy. I did something like, I did this earlier onto it. I think I've caused it to have a little bit of a problem with its heart. I'll have to give it a talk. Yeah, so I think for the goddess that I you know what I'm thinking, and what's really coming in for me is I'm seeing that as a window to another space. So I'm seeing it as a doorway, more or less. Okay, I'll turn it around where it's sort of the angle that it should be, but I'm seeing it as a doorway and a way into a new state of being. So a new way where you can go through collect, or you can go through and join. So that's the kind of thought that seems to be coming up for me here. Yeah.
A window?
A window.
A window of a new, is there anything else about this new?
A new perception of things.
New perception of things.
I know that it's really about divine leadership, which is part and parcel. But I'm thinking what's coming in is the application of how do you, is when I think about this, I'm thinking in the sense of when we lead, we have a structure, and when we lead, there's an energy that comes with it. But there's also this space in the center where magic can happen. So everything is coming into it, almost like in the vortex or the weird. Yeah. So things are coming in from all sides to join in the middle. So that's what's coming up for me right now with this goddess.
Powerful. Like a new window of perception, like a vortex, like the weird vortex where everything new originates from.
Yeah. And your goddess?
Well, because I've chosen the yellow foundation, and after seeing the sun earlier of your tarot card, the word, I feel my goddess is the sun goddess.
Yes.
And she looks like the sun goddess to me anyway, like with the sun rays from all different directions. And I mentioned earlier, like the white deer, he's healing also the spiraling up to the source, to the sun, to the light. So for me, this goddess is the goddess of the sun.
Oh, beautiful.
Shining light on us. Light and joy.
And is there anything else about that shining light, love and joy?
Yeah, well, it's this life-giving
Mm-hmm.
life-giving light. And I mentioned to you that I'm currently trying out like the life waves patches,
Yes.
which are about like photon energy. And you put
Right.
them on your body, and they're through the stem cells and the sunlight. Photon energy, it's nothing else than the sunlight energy.
Mm-hmm.
It brings the light to like, yeah, to our stem cells, and that's how they get regenerated and purified. And I feel that this goddess of the sun brings exactly this healing.
Purification, healing, light
Yes.
and purification.
Yes. That's what's coming to me. And I've just finished the sun goddess, Beregini,
Beautiful.
the front part. And now I'm just gonna sew it on the second part around.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got my first kind of pouch, which I like to see like a womb. And what has come up just now, I like to put it on little messages and to put it inside. And I just love this kind of interconnected or interwoven kind of magic. And I put them afterwards also into a pouch, which is like a woolen pouch after 27 days.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a present to myself of so much goodness, which so many goddesses, the Bereginis, are gonna bring us.
They're certainly going to bring us lots of beautiful stuff, beautiful intentions. And I really love that this one is bringing up all that photon energy. And, you know, the first spark of anything that we existed was is photonic light. So it's such a beautiful idea. And as if you think about, and I suppose my mind is going now to the sense of the weird, where out of the weird came the light, and the weird is the darkness, and then comes this light. So we're going into a new age of enlightenment. So, you know, and this is part of that journey, seeing it quite differently from what we would have maybe seen it before.
Powerful. Very powerful. That just briefly came to me earlier as well, like when, oh yeah, that is exactly this, like quantum, it's weird. There's like in the weird is the big room of all existence, the darkness, the void, the vortex, and the light gets born from that. That's how galaxies get born. That's how we get born. Yeah, exactly. As the little embryos in the womb, and all creation works like that.
Yeah.
Is there anything what is happening for you at the moment?
I'm just spending a little bit of time just because I want to make sure that I'm going to be able to see mine. So I'm creating a sort of lines around it, so that I can see the red, because I've got it on something. So, and I'm just really looking at it and thinking about how that may I suppose just looking at how things blend and how things also you know, how things blend in and how things also at the same time differentiate and are unique, and a little bit about how that happens. And yeah, that's kind of a little bit where my mind is going right now.
So how things differentiate.
how things are differentiating. Yeah. Yeah, I think that it is just about I suppose I'm thinking all in the idea of how when we learn, how do we know that we're learning? Well, we really only know we're learning when we know where we've come from and where we're going to. We don't, if we don't, if we stay in the sameness, we can't really learn, because we're learning because we're moving from one to another, one state to another. So that was what came up in the sense of how might that, how does that differential? Because when we bring light into something, what we're doing is we're taking all shadows away. And at the same time, we're seeing a glorious blaze of color. Each that dissolves into each other, but they also have a period where there's a moment of singing where it's on its own. So it's in the fullness of itself. And then it kind of blends. Like if you look at the rainbow is actually there's 7 colors that you see, that we can see without our normal eyes. But each one is going through a phase where you can actually see they're blending. And is it because we have 3 main colors, and because they're moving in between each other, we're getting the other colors that are forming in the purest of that color, and we're not seeing the actual slow increments of blending. I suppose that's what my thoughts are running to, and I don't know why that's going there. I have no idea. I have to think on that. Why did that come up? But I think because the rainbow is there, and rainbows are always about hope, but they're also about showing different facets of things, aren't they? Because in a crystal, it's the refraction of light that creates color.
And the rainbow is with us today, with the candle and the card.
Did you ask a question?
Hmm?
Did you ask a question, or were you just...
I was just quiet for a moment.
Yeah, I was too.
Just really connected with the goddess. And I finished the first one. This was always such a nice moment to really be conscious when we begin with the stitch and how we finish the stitch. So welcome, my new goddess of the sun. Here she is.
Oh, beautiful. She is beautiful. And in fact, she almost looks like...
Yeah.
I noticed now it almost looks like a person when you look at it.
Like a person, really?
Yeah. I mean, the head around it, the way it's done, it's almost like the head. And then you've got that you're opening, the way you're holding it is almost like going to the neck. That was interesting for me.
Oh, that's always so interesting. Michelle is just asking, does the color of the circle for each goddess need to be the same of yours, or are they supposed to be a certain color? Also, the color of embroidery should be same as yours. Yeah, Michelle, thank you for the question. Like the foundation color, I think we can leave it open to us. Only the embroidery colors, they are usually like black for the ancestor world of the tree, of the roots, and the red color stands like for the like blood and life force energy color, and the white color stands for the divine. I mean, Shireen, she found her own creative version of it, and she's embroidering now in red, but you're putting some white around it. So I like when we are creative with this.
Yeah, I'll show Michelle what I'm doing so far.
Yes.
It's taking a little bit more time because I can't, because I'm trying to fill in so that there's enough space so that I can see more clearly. So that's what I'm doing, Michelle. I'm creating it so that I can see the red, because I'm on red. So I'm doing it this way so that I can see it as it is. And I'm creating the white around it so that it's clearer. So it doesn't matter what you do, as long as when you're doing it, you've got the intention and aware of what that goddess is standing for you. What the goddess is saying, really.
Mm-hmm. And just being aware that we are like woven into those colors with this Holy Trinity as well. Mm-hmm. The Trinity of us women. This is like the red is the maiden, and the black is the wise one. What have I left out? The white, no, the white one is the maiden. The red one is the enchantress or the mother. And the black one is the wise one, the crone. So all those things are interwoven within us as well. And also through those colors, and in connection also with the world tree and to the different worlds and dimensions. But other than that, it's one thing to be aware of them, but it's also another thing, just follow your own creative flow and your intuition.
Yeah, just let whatever comes so that you can start to connect it. I've got a lot of red, so I'm choosing to do a whole set that it's going to be a little bit more little different, but yeah.
Yeah, and it's coming up.
As long as you.
Sorry, Shireen, I didn't want to interrupt. What were you saying?
No, I was just saying I chose red because I had a lot, but I thought you said something, so I stopped.
No, I just wanted to say that it's now our first round of of the first Beregini is now coming to a close. It's now 4 o'clock here.
Ending.
And I like to keep also this time frame of an hour.
Exactly, yeah.
And you don't have to be finished.
Well, I'll finish doing this, and then what I'll do is I'll post it.
Yes.
When I do, yeah, we'll do the cards and we'll post them all in one little post, and then everybody will have that, and maybe we encourage everybody else to put their Bereginis up so that we can all see it. And yeah, let us know what's happening, and maybe just be more conscious about, how has that been in your life today? Now that you've thought about divine leadership, what does that mean? You recognize your light, and how does your light and your divine path kind of correlate? Maybe while you're doing it, be kind of more aware of that, and just see, just feel the energy, feel what the energy is like.
Yes.
And then put it on so that we can see what you've done.
Yeah, sharing is caring. And in that way, we spread this energy even more to everybody else. And I feel like in this field, whatever is coming up for another person, it's kind of also related to us, isn't it? And through this sharing, like we did today as well, this is for me co-creative weaving. You said like, oh, that looks like this, or oh, now I'm thinking like about the light which gets born and the weird, and I'm thinking about this goddess, and that's how we co-create with the divine. So I'm looking forward to all your sharings and how it develops, and has just only been the start.
I'm looking forward to seeing, and you and I will both post so that we've got ours up there as well, so that everybody can get a sense of how you can be uniquely different, and it doesn't matter, just create, go for it and see what comes up. Yeah.
And if you have got questions, you can always comment underneath the live video. We can answer it later, so we can stay in this co-creative action as part of the challenge. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Cherie.
Thank you.
And
thank you, Erica.
And we see each other tomorrow.
We will see each other tomorrow, yes, for the next installment.
Yes, and the next Beregini is the first circle Beregini of the communicator.
I wonder
of the divine communicator. So see you tomorrow. Bye-bye for now. Have a lovely rest of Friday. Bye-bye. Many blessings. Blagadaru in Russian.
Bye-bye. Take care. And bye-bye, Erica. We'll see you tomorrow.
Yeah, see you tomorrow.